The only joint components needed to assemble the flex ring joint in the 4-inch through 12-inch sizes are a fast-tight gasket and a single split flex ring. Prior to assembly, remove the packing material holding the split flex ring onto the pipe. When assembling flex ring joints, the following instructions should be followed. With clean rags, brushes, or other tools, thoroughly clean the socket and plain end of the pipe being installed, removing mud, gravel, or any other matter that might cause the front of the gasket to protrude into the path of the spigot. Next, wipe the gasket clean and, after flexing one or more loops, insert the gasket into the gasket recess of the socket, with the large sealing end of the gasket toward the rear of the socket and the harder portion of the narrow socket groove. Press the gasket into the socket recesses so that the gasket is completely and uniformly in the socket grooves. Be sure no gasket loops or bulges protrude into the path of the entering spigot. In extremely cold conditions, make sure gaskets are warmed before installing. With a clean brush, apply a liberal amount of fast-tight lubricant completely over the exposed inner surface of the gasket after it is placed in the socket. Also, apply lubricant completely over the spigot end of the pipe, spigot end taper or radius, and the outer surface of the pipe spigot up to the welded-on retainer ring. Do not allow the lubricated spigot end of the pipe to contact the ground prior to joint assembly. Use only lubricant supplied by American, and for underwater or very wet conditions, special American underwater joint lubricant is recommended and available upon request. With the pipe in essentially straight alignment, assemble the spigot end into the flex ring bell until the assembly stripe disappears into the bell. The orientation of the assembly stripe relative to the bell face is an indication of pipe alignment. Tap the flex ring into the socket, beginning with one end of the flex ring and progressing around the joint. It's easier to perform this operation by holding one end of the flex ring inside the bell, as the remainder of the ring is tapped into the socket. Correct seating is normally accompanied by an audible snap as the flex ring springs into place. When a visual inspection to determine the flex ring position is not practical, a feeler gauge can be used to ensure the correct positioning of the flex ring in the socket locking groove. If the flex ring is shipped separately, assemble it onto the pipe spigot by spreading the flex ring ends around it. Be sure the flex ring is oriented so that the small end is toward the pipe plane end. Most flexible restraint joint designs, including flex ring, allow some amount of axial movement after assembly of their locking mechanisms. In some installations, such as exposed piping, or with connections of flexible restraint joint piping at angles to rigid piping or other structures, substantial movement may be undesirable. In such cases, it will be necessary to pull or extend the joints after proper assembly has been verified. For details on optimal installation methods and tools, call American's Customer Service Department at 1-800-442-ADIP or contact your American sales engineer for assistance.